A sparkling camp.
It's Friday afternoon in June at the Takabachi Summer Camp. The camp counselors are supposed to be working, but they aren't. The camp has to be ready for the first summer campers. They'll arrive tomorrow. The counselors have had lunch, and they're taking it easy in the counselors' lounge. Their camp director has just opened the door. He's brought the duty roster with him, so he knows exactly what each of them should be doing.
Hey! What's going on here? Terry, what are you doing?
I'm watching TV.
And what are you supposed to be doing?
I'm not sure.
Well, let me tell you, Terry. You're supposed to be cutting the grass.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I'll get right on it.
When I come back, you'd better be cutting the grass. Do you hear me?
Okay, I'm going.
Get a move on, Terry. Remember the Takabachi motto, a sparkling camp by the sparkling water.
A funny thing happened to me.
A funny thing happened to me last Friday. I'd gone into New York to do some holiday shopping. I wanted to get some presents, and I wanted to see the city all decorated for the holidays. You know, the store windows and the big tree at Rockefeller Center. I had gotten into the city early, so by early afternoon I'd bought everything I wanted. Anyway, I was really tired, all that shopping in crowded stores, and I'd made plans for that night. I just wanted to get home so I could relax before I had to go out again. I went to the Long Island Railroad at Penn Station. It was well before rush hour. I had apparently just missed a train, and the next one wouldn't be leaving for 40 minutes, so I decided I had time for a cup of coffee. I bought a Times and went into a small donut shop and sat at the counter. I ordered a cup of coffee and a box of a half-dozen assorted mini donuts. I figured I would eat a couple and take the rest home for my family. Anyway, they were having a special on the mini donuts, and I can't resist a bargain. I started the crossword puzzle in the paper. A few minutes later, a woman sat down next to me on the stool to my left. That surprised me because there were several empty stools. There was nothing strange about her except that she was very tall. In fact, she looked like a typical businesswoman. You know, conservative suit, briefcase. I didn't say anything. I just kept doing the crossword. Suddenly, she reached out, opened the box of donuts, took one out, dunked it in her coffee, and began to eat it. I couldn't believe my eyes. Anyway, I didn't want to make a scene, so I decided to ignore it. I always avoid trouble if I can. I just took a donut myself and went back to my crossword. When the woman took a second donut, I didn't say a word. After all, if I hadn't protested when she took the first one, how could I say anything when she took the second one? I pretended to be very interested in the puzzle. A few minutes later, I casually put out my hand, took another donut, and glanced at the woman. She seemed to be glaring at me. She was making me feel so nervous that I decided to have a third donut. That left only one, for only a minute. Sure enough, the woman took the last donut. I nervously continued eating my donut and decided to leave. I was ready to get up and go when the woman suddenly stood up and hurried out of the donut shop. I felt very relieved and decided to wait for 2 or 3 minutes before going myself. I finished my second cup of coffee, folded my newspaper, and stood up. And there, on the counter, underneath where my paper had been, was my unopened box of donuts.
Murder in New Orleans.
Charles Beresford Tifton was found dead on the floor of his study in the Tifton family mansion in New Orleans. He had been shot 5 times. There were 5 people on the estate, and they all heard the shots at about 4 p.m. The police have taken statements and made the following notes about each of the 5 people.
Lydia Tifton's statement.
I was reading in my bedroom on the first floor. I heard the shots. There were 4 or 5. I wheeled myself into the hall. The study door was open. Ruth Ellen was standing in the doorway screaming. Benson was standing at the French windows. The gun was on the floor next to my husband's body.
J.D.'s statement.
I was in the den. I was listening to a new CD. Suddenly there were 5 shots. I thought it was Uncle Ike at target practice. Then I heard a scream. It sounded like Ruth Ellen, so I opened the connecting door to the study and saw Big Daddy lying there, Benson at the French windows, and Mama and Ruth Ellen together in the doorway to the hall. I couldn't believe my eyes.
Ruth Ellen Potts' statement.
I was in the living room, writing my resume. I heard the shots and ran across the hall. The door to the study was open. There was poor dear Charles, Mr. Tifton, lying in a pool of blood. I started screaming. Benson came in through the French windows. They were open. Then Mrs. Tifton arrived. She didn't say a word. She just stared at me.
Benson's statement.
I was about to take my afternoon walk. The doctor told me to walk twice a day for my heart. Anyway, I had just come out of the back door, and I was walking around the corner of the house when I heard shooting. I ran across the lawn to the French windows. I saw Mr. Charles's body and Miss Ruth Ellen in the doorway.
Dwight Dubois' statement.
I was out by the pond, fishing in my usual spot, when I heard the shots. I hurried through the trees toward the house. I saw Benson running across the lawn toward the study. When I got there, everybody was in the room. Poor old Charlie was dead. I know a dead man when I see one. After all, I was in the army during the war.
Murder in New Orleans.
Chief of Detectives Tony D'Amato is in charge of the case. Detective Sergeant Novak is his assistant. They're in the Tifton study.
Where is everybody?
They're all in the living room. Reyes is with them. What do you think?
It could have been any of them, couldn't it? Nobody seems very sad. Might have even been all of them.
Yeah. Tifton wasn't exactly popular around here. Nobody liked him. But it could have been an outsider.
No way. It must have been one of them. Let's look at the evidence.
It seems to me that everybody has a motive and nobody has an alibi. They all say they were alone when it happened.
Yes, and there are no fingerprints on the gun.
Lydia Tifton?
It couldn't have been her.
Why not?
Well, she's in a wheelchair. She can't move very fast. Anyway, they've been married for 35 years. It just couldn't have been her.
Most murders are committed by someone in the family, and that door goes into her room.
Right, but it was locked.
Doors have keys.
But why would she want to kill him?
Ruth Ellen Potts is a very attractive young woman. We don't know what was going on. She might have been jealous.
But he was over 60. He was old enough to be Potts' grandfather.
Yes. But he was a good-looking man and very rich and powerful.
Dwight Dubois?
What about Dubois, Novak? He's a weird guy.
I've been thinking about that. It couldn't have been him.
Why not?
Why would he need to shoot 5 times? He was a champion marksman. He could have killed him with 1 shot.
Maybe he did, Novak. Maybe he did.
I don't follow.
There are a lot of things you don't follow, Novak. Maybe he's smarter than he looks.
But there's no motive.
There might have been. I mean, there was the scandal with that land development company.
But he was down by the pond.
So? He could have shot him from the trees and thrown the gun into the room.
Oh, yeah. Do you really think so?
I don't know. It's just a theory.
Call in. You're on the air.
Good evening. I'm Harry Baxter, and this is Call In on radio station WLFM. We're talking tonight about government services. Do you think you're getting what you've paid for? What's your opinion? Call in. We'd like to hear from you. The number is 555-1785. Call in. You're on the air.
Hi, Harry. My name is Stuart Amos. I'm a salesman and I have to drive a lot. Why is it that there's always construction going on all the alternate routes at exactly the same time? I mean, I understand that the roads need to be maintained, but there's absolutely no coordination. Like, when they're fixing one bridge into the city, why do they have to fix the other bridge at the same time? It's ridiculous.
Good point, Stuart. Let's hope the Department of Transportation folks are listening. Call in. You're on the air.
Good evening, Harry. I'm Hilda Diaz. Why are they closing the fire station in my neighborhood? We need it to stay open. I heard that the response time is going to be increased by 10 minutes if that fire station closes. 10 minutes. That could mean the difference between life and death, you know. If they're trying to save money, why don't those politicians all take a pay cut? That's where the waste is, if you ask me.
Well, Hilda, you certainly sound passionate. We'll see if the city doesn't change its mind. I hope you've called your city council representative. Call in. You're on the air.
Harry, I'm Milton Kramer. I'm fed up with those sanitation trucks that come in the middle of the night and make all that noise. They must start at around 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's every other night. I'm sound asleep, and I have about 3 more hours before the alarm's going to go off, and the garbage truck comes. I can never get back to sleep, and before I know it, I have to get up for work. It ruins my whole day. There must be a way for them to change the schedule so they don't wake up the neighborhood.
You know, Milton, I've never understood why sanitation trucks have to come in the middle of the night either. I'm sure the sanitation workers wouldn't mind having different hours, say like 7 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And on that note, it's time to say goodnight. Thank you for listening, and remember to tune in again tomorrow.
Making a complaint.
Good morning. I'd like to speak to the manager.
I am the manager, sir. How can I help you?
Well, it's this radio. It doesn't work.
Did you buy it here?
What? Of course I bought it here. Look, you turn it on and nothing happens.
May I see your receipt?
Receipt? I don't have one.
You must have gotten a receipt when you bought it.
I probably did. I must have thrown it away.
Aha. Well, do you have any other proof of purchase? The guarantee, for example?
No. It must have been in the box. I threw that away, too.
That's too bad. You really ought to have kept it. We need to know the exact date of purchase.
What? I only bought it yesterday. That young man over there waited on me. Oh, I paid by credit card. I have my copy here.
Oh, all right then. Did you test the radio before you left the store?
Test it? No, it was in the original box. I expected it to work. It wasn't some cheap radio. It's a good brand.
You should have tested it.
Come on, stop telling me what I should have done and do something. Either give me my money back or give me another radio.
There's no need to get impatient, sir. Let me look at it. You see this little switch in the back?
Yes.
It's on AC, and it should be on DC. You really should have read the instructions.
Oh.